Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everybody. Good
We are learning Mishnah Kesubos, Perek Zion, Chapter 7, Mishnah Yud, Mishnah 10. Ve'elu shekaifen oisen lahitzi. These are the kind of blemishes on a man that if his wife demands a divorce where she says that, can't handle it, can't tolerate it, we actually force him to do so. Now, interestingly, as pointed out here in this introduction to this Mishnah, in the previous Mishnah we had an argument about a man who develops physical blemishes, and the first opinion said, physical blemishes on a man, you don't force him to divorce his wife. Shimon ben Gamliel distinguished between large or small blemishes, and this Mishnah is going to list blemishes or conditions that everybody agrees are so, intolerable for a woman that they are grounds for divorce. And not only that are they grounds for divorce, he will have to pay her a ksuba. Even though she's demanding a ksuba, she's demanding a get, and he wants to stay married, and we're forcing him to divorce her, he still has to pay her a ksuba. Okay, now, so the Mishnah begins. These are the husbands that we force them to divorce their wives. Mukashchin. Mukashchin means that Mukashchin translates as a mitzora. Mitzora we have in the Torah, right? A person who has a skin blemishes that are actually are leprosy like, that actual leprosy. Now here in number 4, they bring down in the Torah, mitzora refers to one who is afflicted with a certain type of skin disease. In this context, however, it may be a general term that includes a broad range of diseases. Okay, that's they bring down here this from different from the Shuvas Maharit, that although typically mukashchin, which means mitzora, has a certain meaning when it comes to being mentioned in the Torah. Here he says that it may be a general term that includes a broad range of diseases. Which kinds of diseases? Probably clearly a physical disease, something that I would assume if it's being called mitzora, mukashchin, it's something that, manifests itself in a physical way. It's not clear exactly though what it is. Is it a skin disease? Is it some other kind of disease? But it's, again, not clear exactly what mukashchin is. But it's clearly some kind, I would just venture to say that it's some kind of a, disease that comes out in the body and is recognizable to the woman. And again, these are this whole list is going to be situations where for the woman it's just impossible to live with him. So the first one mentioned is mukashchin. The next one is bal polypus, which means he has a repugnant smell. There's some kind of a very serious odor emanating from him. Now the Bartanura says reach hachotem, which means the odor of the nose. Sounds like, according to that's coming out of the nose, even though here in the English there's no mention of that. But I mean the person who has a very bad odor. V'hamekametz. Mekametz wants a collector. What does he collect? Dog manure. Why is he collecting dog manure? So they say dog manure was used in the process of tanning, converting animal hide to leather. The hide is soaked in a solution that contains animal manure. And what basically happens, I believe, is that there is this terrible odor that comes out from it, and it basically adheres to the person. The person, that person basically absorbs that odor, and it sticks to him. That's mekametz. V'mitzaref nechoshes, one who mines copper. Here also, a person who mines copper is someone that, because of that, for some reason, develops a bad odor. V'habursi, bursi is a tanner. The tanning process involves working with manure, the smell of which adheres to the workers. So far, everything we've been talking about, the last couple of things mentioned are things that have, that he has this terrible odor that comes from him that makes it intolerable. Now, the Mishnah says, Ben shayuvam achalei nisu, whether these men had them whether they had them before they were married, or they developed after they were married, nonetheless, the halacha is that she can go ahead and demand a divorce. Meaning, we had previously that if by the man, right, that if he, or even by the woman, right, where, or depending on which opinion, but a situation where you knew it was there beforehand, we say, well, you knew about it and that's it. But when it comes to here, when it comes to these kinds of conditions, whether, whether these things developed even after their marriage, she still has a right to go ahead and demand a divorce. Va'al kulan, Amar Rabbi Meir. And regarding all these cases, Rabbi Meir said, Avri shehisni ima. Even if he made a condition with her, meaning before they got married, he said to her, look, I am a borsi, I am a tanner, right? Are you going to marry me or not? Are you still going to marry me or not? Right? And she agreed, still, she has the ability to say, I thought I could handle it, and now I see I cannot handle it. So again, even though she originally agreed to the stipulation, she can still say, look, when I when I agreed, I thought I could handle it. Now I realize I can't handle it, and there she can demand a divorce. Now, the Mishnah then continues. But the Chachamim say, Mekabeles hi al karcha chutz mukashchin. When it comes to all these things, if she knew about it, okay, we're not talking about, if she didn't know. If she knew about these things when she got married, and nonetheless she went ahead and she married him, that's what I have here. If she knew about the condition and married her husband anyway, Mekabeles hi al karcha, she must accept it against her will. And she's got to stay married to the guy. Chutz mimukashchin. The only exception is the person who had mukashchin, the person who we described, who was stricken with, who was a Mitzayra. What's the issue here? Which means because she causes his flesh to decay. Through cohabitation with him, that causes his flesh to decay. And since married life is dangerous to his health, we do not allow them to stay together. So even if the husband wants to remain married and she wants to stay married, they are forbidden to stay married because of the fact that he is prohibited from harming himself. And therefore, so again, when you're talking about all these other things, if she knew about it and if she knew about it, well, again, if she accepted it, if she knew about it and she married him anyway, and she accepted all these other conditions, she can't demand a divorce. But mukashchin, we make them have a divorce here because of the fact that it's dangerous for him to stay married. Now, Ma'aseh b'Tzidain, a story took place in a city called Tzidain. B'borisi echad shemes, you had this tanner, and he died, and he had no children when he died. So that means his brother should be doing yibum. V'hayalayach borisi, and his brother was a tanner, right? So she was married to this tanner who had a bad smell to him, and now she was falling to yibum to his brother who also had a bad smell to him. Okay, now she was married to the tanner, right? She was married to him. She tolerated it. She wasn't demanding a divorce. She was dealing with it, and now she's falling to his brother who has the same job. Amru Chachamim, the Chachamim say, she is able to say, I could tolerate your brother, but you, I cannot tolerate. So even though she was able to tolerate the foul odor that came from her husband, she could say, the foul odor emanating from you, I cannot tolerate. And therefore, what will we do then? We will force the brother to give her chalitza, right? She's got to have something, right? She's got to have something. So in this situation, she can demand, and the Bezin will force, that he should give a chalitza and not do yibum. So even though she was tolerating her husband who was a tanner, she can still say that I can't tolerate my brother-in-law who's a tanner, and therefore they will force the brother-in-law to give her chalitza and he can't do yibum.
So would that also apply to the other cases if he was a collector of whatever it sounds like it was?
Yeah. Okay. All right, so we were dealing with the case of a shidduch, where, there's a person who wants to make a shidduch, wants to marry his daughter off to a man, and the question and the discussion is, what he's allowed to say and how he can say it. Now, let's go back to what we permitted at the beginning of paragraph 5. If let's say the prospective husband has serious shortcomings, Hiyesh nafkamina ben achasrenis. You have to know there's a difference between, what kind of shortcoming we're talking about. The hainu. If let's say he's very unwell. The prospective father-in-law, who is looking to possibly, match his daughter to this young man, he's got no idea because it's something internal. There is no problem here of there's the ein al magala inyan zeh, the person who now reveals it to the father, this condition, there's no question that there's a prohibition of rechilas here. Just remember, you have to fulfill all the conditions that were mentioned before that we said in order to be able to do this. Okay? All right, we'll continue from here tomorrow.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Rabbi.